All right, listen up. Performance management. Just hearing that probably makes you think of corporate meetings, endless spreadsheets, that HR email you've probably been ignoring for weeks, or awkward annual reviews, right? It's one of those buzzwords that has been completely perverted and has lost its meaning. It's performance this, performance that. Everyone is teaching you performance and everyone is speaking about performance in every single field, regardless of whether it has anything to do with it or not. The word, it's like it's been put through a corporate washing machine and it came out all stiff, beige, and boring, usually seen as time consuming and borderline meaningless by almost everyone. We're not just going to say everyone, but you know what I mean. In reality, we all do performance every single day. We just don't call it that. Tracking your gym progress and adjusting your food and workouts to score better, performance management. Budgeting for that vacation, performance management as well. Realizing you sleep better with fewer cups of coffee, note to self, also performance management. See, it's not just a workplace thing, it's not just a corporate thing, it's basically a life skill. At its core, performance management is about setting objectives that motivates us or that are a must, like for example, finishing mandatory school for some kids out there, checking progress, and improving based on what we learn from the progress. It's how we grow, whether we're running a company, we're managing that side hustle, or we're just trying to keep our plants alive, or we're starting to bake for holidays. We're all managing performance constantly, whether it's our own, our families, or our projects. The difference is that in our daily life, we see impact and value instantly. At work, it's often buried under layers of processes, buzzwords, and bad meetings. If we strip it back to its purpose, learning, improving, aligning our actions with our goals or objectives, it would be way more useful and probably even more fun. Okay, let's not get carried away, but at least wouldn't be as soul crushing as it is considered now. So, why am I making this video? Funny story. I was talking to my unofficial video director, and she pointed out that in one of my videos, I've been going way too technical. Although she's a director in her current job and she is doing performance one way or another, or at least she's partially doing some of the things we've discussed about. Then a friend of mine who's a doctor mentioned how my context is business oriented and only the business side of the hospital she works for actually looks into metrics and measurements, which honestly is further than what I intended my content to be. So here we are. In today's video, we're gonna fix that by also stripping away corporate jargon. We'll look at where performance management really came from, what it actually means, and why it is more human and useful than you've been told. Chapter 1, Ancient Measurement Obsession. So let's roll back, way back, like 35,000 before Christ back. There's this ancient artifact called the Lebombo bone, a baboon fibula with 29 neat little notches. While not entirely sure how people used to use it, historians think that it was used to track lunar cycles. So basically, ancient humans were counting things before counting your steps was a thing. That means the first performance dashboard might have belonged to African women tracking their menstrual cycles. So yeah, the first world data analysts, possibly them. Since then, numbers have ruled everything. You can't build pyramids, design skyscrapers, or launch rockets without measurement. Even the quote from physicist Niels Bohr still hits hard. Nothing exists until it's measured. And while he was talking about subatomic particles, the same logic kind of applies to business goals or your gym routine. And honestly, this could probably be the unofficial motto of performance management. Chapter number 2, from counting rocks to counting results. Fast forward a few millennia. Humans started forming organizations. And surprise, surprise, they needed ways to check if things were working. Believe it or not, the idea of tracking performance isn't new. The ancient Sumerians were already measuring labor and output about 4,000 years ago, basically running the world's first HR and strategy department with clay tablets. Civilizations such as ancient Egypt and China were following in their footsteps as well. Over the past 500 years, measurement evolved from simple counting to complex systems that help leaders understand whether we are on the right track or are we just wasting time and maybe even coffee. Performance management grew organically over time, shaped by economics, history, and let's be honest, our constant need of knowing who is the best. Even parents hold their first graders accountable by using performance management. Maybe that's where the bad rep is starting in kindergarten. But here's the messy part. There's no single timeline for when performance management as a concept officially started. It evolved kind of like fashion. Trends change, all styles come back, and no two organizations work the same way at the same time. Chapter number 3. So, what is performance management really? Ask 10 experts what performance is, and you'll probably get 12 different answers. But let's strip away the jargon, and here's the gist. Performance management is all about helping people and organizations reach their goals or objectives by setting clear measurements and targets, tracking progress, learning from data, and course correcting when needed. It's not about checking boxes or judging your employees. It should be a continuous feedback loop. Think of it like a Google Maps for your organization. You set the destination, your strategy, check where you are with measurements, and reroute if you took the wrong turn, which is the improvement aspect. Or, as the researcher put it, it's a self-corrective system like your GPS, but for business or maybe for daily life. Chapter number 4, the big confusion, performance management and performance appraisal. Here's where a lot of companies and people in general actually get it wrong. They think performance management equals performance appraisals or HR related activities in general. You know, that annual meeting your boss awkwardly says, "So let's talk about your results," and the bonus that follows, hopefully. But real performance management isn't just HR gossip. It should be strategic. It should be a way of linking individual objectives with the corporate strategy or your family strategy if you have any. Because if everyone's rowing in different directions, the boat's not moving. It's probably just splashing around. When performance is measured only at individual level, people end up chasing personal metrics instead of helping the team to succeed. That's like everyone in an orchestra playing their favorite song. And that can only go two ways. It would be either an awful experience or maybe we are actually onto something. Chapter number 5. Two sides of the performance management coin, measuring and improving. At its core, performance management has two sides. Performance measurement, which is about collecting data, tracking results, and figuring out where you stand compared to your targets, and performance improvement, when we are discussing about actually doing something about what the data reveals. You can't improve if you don't measure, aka don't know, but measuring without improving, that's like stepping on a scale every day and never changing your habits. Pointless and potentially depressing. Smart organizations, even if those organizations are your close family or a group of friends you're volunteering with, use measurement to fuel improvements, fixing gap, innovating, and aligning their efforts with their strategy. Chapter 6, the dark side of performance management. Now, not everyone's a fan of performance management. In fact, most people actually hate it. Or maybe hate is a strong word, but they strongly dislike it. Remember Goodhart's law. When a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. In plain English, if you make hitting the targets your only goal, people will game the system instead of improving the system. Take this example. If a doctor only has, say, 15 minutes for each appointment, and they get penalized every time they exceed these 15 minutes, what do you think will happen? Well, most probably they will start rushing through appointments, skim through charts, and maybe even misdiagnose one patient or two. And honestly, you wouldn't want to be that doctor, and you surely wouldn't want to be that patient. That's why some critics say that traditional performance management kills creativity and creates more paperwork than results. When done right, performance management shouldn't restrict you, it should refocus you. It's not about micromanaging. It's not about reaching a target at all costs or wasting time. It should be about steering the ship towards your strategy if you're a business or your ambition for an individual. Chapter number 7, the bottom line. So, to wrap it up, performance management shouldn't be considered some soulless corporate ritual. It's how humans make sense of the world and understand what works and what doesn't work. It's measuring what matters, improving what can be better, and hopefully aligning with purpose. Because at the end of the day, performance management isn't just about measurement and numbers. It should be about navigating progress. And if you're not measuring and improving, you're basically navigating blindly. If you enjoyed this breakdown on performance management, hit that like button, subscribe for more nerdy organizations talk made simple, and as always, thank you for hanging out.